Motion sickness is a common condition that affects many people who use virtual reality (VR) headsets, such as the Meta Quest Pro. It occurs when there is a mismatch between what your eyes see and what your body feels, causing symptoms such as nausea, dizziness, headache, and fatigue. One of the main causes of motion sickness in VR is the lack of vestibular feedback. The vestibular system is the part of your inner ear that helps you sense your balance and orientation. When you use a VR headset, your eyes perceive that you are moving in a virtual environment, but your vestibular system does not detect any corresponding motion in the real world. This creates a conflict between your visual and vestibular inputs, which confuses your brain and triggers motion sickness. Another cause of motion sickness in VR is the latency or delay between your head movements and the corresponding changes in the VR display. If the latency is too high, your eyes will see a different image than what you expect based on your head position and orientation. This also creates a discrepancy between your visual and vestibular inputs, which can induce motion sickness. Using the Meta Quest Pro in a car can increase the risk of motion sickness, because you are adding another layer of motion to the VR experience. When you are in a car, your body feels the acceleration, deceleration, and turns of the vehicle, but your eyes do not see them in the VR headset. Conversely, when you move your head in VR, your eyes see the virtual motion, but your body does not feel it in the car. This can create a double mismatch between your visual and vestibular inputs, which can make you feel even more sick. Fortunately, there are some ways to prevent or reduce motion sickness when using the Meta Quest Pro in a car. Here are some tips. Choose VR experiences that are compatible with car motion. For example, avoid VR games that involve fast or complex movements, such as flying, racing, or shooting. Instead, opt for VR experiences that are more static or relaxing, such as watching a movie, listening to music, or meditating. Adjust the settings of your Meta Quest Pro to optimize the performance and comfort. For example, enable low persistence mode to reduce motion blur and increase refresh rate to reduce latency. You can also adjust the IPD, interpupillary distance, and lens spacing to ensure a clear and comfortable view. Use the full color pass-through feature of your Meta Quest Pro to see your real surroundings when needed. This can help you orient yourself and reduce the disorientation caused by VR. You can also use this feature to check on your fellow passengers or drivers, or to enjoy the scenery outside. Take breaks regularly and stop using VR if you feel sick. Do not force yourself to continue using VR if you experience any symptoms of motion sickness, such as nausea, dizziness, headache, or fatigue. Stop using VR immediately and take off your headset. You can also try some remedies for motion sickness, such as drinking water, eating ginger, or taking medication. If you're one of those people who get motion sickness while using VR headsets, especially in a car, you might be wondering if there's anything you can do to prevent or reduce it. Well, the good news is that there are some products or apps that can help you with motion sickness, such as anti-nausea bands, ginger candies, VR sickness apps, and more. In this section, I'm going to review some of these options and tell you how they work and where you can get them. First, let's talk about anti-nausea bands. These are wristbands that apply pressure to a specific point on your inner wrist called the P6 acupressure point. This point is believed to be connected to the part of your brain that controls nausea and vomiting. By stimulating this point, the bands can help reduce the symptoms of motion sickness. There are different types of anti-nausea bands available, such as MQ Motion Sickness Patch, Tulifly Travel Wristbands, and C-Band. Some of them are disposable, while others are reusable. Some of them also have magnets or electrical pulses to enhance the effect. You can find these bands online or in pharmacies. Next, let's talk about ginger candies. Ginger is a natural remedy for nausea and vomiting that has been used for centuries. It contains compounds that can calm your stomach and ease your digestion. Ginger candies are a convenient way to consume ginger while traveling or using VR headsets. They can also help freshen your breath and soothe your throat. You can find ginger candies in different flavors and forms, such as chews, lozenges, gummies, and hard candies. Some brands that offer ginger candies are Dramamine Ginger Chews, Gin Gins, and Tummy Drops. You can buy them online or in grocery stores. Another option is to use VR sickness apps. These are apps that are designed to help you adapt to VR environments and reduce the mismatch between what you see and what you feel. They do this by providing visual cues, such as a horizon line, a cockpit frame, or a virtual nose, that can help you orient yourself and stabilize your vision. They can also adjust the motion settings, such as the speed, acceleration, and field of view, to make them more comfortable for you. Some examples of VR sickness apps are Sense Relief, VR Motion Sickness Fixer, and VR Nausea Relief. You can download them from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Finally, let's talk about medication. If none of the above options work for you, or if you have severe motion sickness, you might want to consider taking some medication to prevent or treat it. There are two main types of medication for motion sickness: antihistamines and scopolamine. Antihistamines are drugs that block the effects of histamine, a chemical that is involved in allergic reactions and nausea. They can help reduce the symptoms of motion sickness, but they can also cause drowsiness and dry mouth. Some common antihistamines for motion sickness are Dramamine Motion Sickness Original, Cyclizine, Merzine, and Meclizine, Bonini. You can get them over the counter or by prescription. Scopolamine is a drug that blocks the action of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that is involved in motion detection and vomiting. It can prevent motion sickness more effectively than antihistamines, but it can also cause side effects such as blurred vision, dizziness, confusion, and dry mouth. Scopolamine comes in the form of a skin patch, Transderm Scop, that you apply behind your ear at least 4 hours before traveling or using VR headsets. You need a prescription to get it. So these are some of the products or apps that can help you with motion sickness while using MetaQuest Pro in a car. Of course, different things work for different people, so you might want to try out different options and see what works best for you. And remember to always follow the instructions and warnings on the labels and consult your doctor before taking any medication. I hope this section was helpful and informative for you.